Hello everyone, welcome back. You're watching Modern Magic for the Modern Man. We're playing round 4 in our Modern Competitive League. This is a Jeskai blue-white-red control deck. So right now we are 2-1. So far so good. I think this hand is just fine. Just fine. We can get a Hallowed Fountain and really be able to play both of these whenever we need. I'm going to keep. So yeah, we'll be able to hold up either of these on turn 2, which is all gravy, 100% gravy. Opponent is making their keep or mold decision now. Give them the old good lucksies. Yeah, we'll start off with a flooded strand and see where we go from there. Alright, and we're off. So playing this deck, we have found we are going to time pretty often. We're playing marathon games, another Affinity deck. And, you know, that's just the way it's going to go, I suppose. Not a very explosive turn 1 from my Affinity opponent. I'm going to go ahead and shock that in. So now I have a few options here. So if my opponent plays cranial plating, I can logic knot it. Whereas also if they play a threat like Steel Overseer, I can lightning helix it. Not concerned about another Vault Scourge. Alright, Scalding Tarn is just good enough. So again, we're going to keep filling up the graveyard for our logic knots. Something like a Supreme Verdict would be good. Alright, I don't think I need either of these lands. Usually I'm more than happy to keep the lands on top, especially when we've only got 6 total, 3 in play, 3 in our hand. The only thing is I need to start being able to deal with these threats en masse. So something like a Supreme Verdict. Alright, so Steel Overseer. I'm going to let it resolve, and then I'm going to hit it with a Lightning Helix. Again, I save the Logic Knot for something a little bit harder to deal with. Cryptic Command is a great draw. Go ahead and play the Desolate Lighthouse. Yep, so we're taking 3 a turn here. Not too bad, but also not great. My opponent did not activate Blink Moth, so that tells me they've got another play. Arcbound Ravager. Ooh, man, they're playing these beautiful inventions here. I'm going to go ahead and give them the Logic Knot. Okay. So I'm going to tap in the Celestial Colonnade. I think I can afford to take 3 for another turn. Another Arcbound Ravager. So I'm going to counter that and draw a card. Electrolyze. What a great draw. And a Lightning Bolt. Hot dog. We are flying here. I'm going to go ahead and just tap in the Steam Vents. Yeah, in mid-combat here, I'm going to nail both of these Vault Scourges. Picked up another Colonnade. Happy with that. 6 test. And that's it. Alright. Snapcaster Mage is going to get in here and do some work for me. See, I'm going to just take the damage here and, you know, treat my opponent's next play, you know, with the necessary amount of force. So we got Stone Cold nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and snap back this electrolyze. So my opponent is actually doing their due diligence here and sequencing their threats very slowly. And that actually makes it harder for me to deal with them all at once. So I like being able to hold up Sphinx's Revelation here. Okay, Etch Champion is officially a problem. And I'm going to deal with this problem. Well, you know, if I had a Cryptic Command, I could bounce a Darksteel Citadel and bolt it. Alright, let's draw some cards and gain some life here. I want to go ahead and fetch. Good, an island. Alright, Sphinx's Rev for 5. That's a healthy amount, don't you think? Alright, so I did pick up a Supreme Verdict, which does deal with Etch Champion. So I'm going to go ahead and bluff 2 damage here. My opponent shouldn't take it. Oh, but they do. So the bluff was that I had a way to bounce a Darksteel Citadel, which means they would have just traded for free. Would have been a pretty big game. Alright, we're going to go ahead and burn this now. So I don't actually have a counter spell if they do produce another one. It's just a risk I'm going to have to take. My opponent decided they have seen enough. So as an Affinity player myself, a Jeskai deck is really a feared matchup. It's not one that I want to see because it can just do so many powerful things. Let's see. Yeah, so cards like Electrolyze and Izzet Staticaster, they're just so good against this deck. I think just Izzet Staticaster and Vendilion Click are what I want. I don't think anything else is really that worth it. Maybe also some Timelies for some Logic Knots here. How good is Logic Knot really? Is it? I think it's better than Timely because it actually does address their threats. I just don't know if it does it fast enough. Alright, we're going to submit the deck. See where this takes us. My opponent will no doubt choose to play. Yeah, so cards that are so effective at being 2-for-1s just really punish this Affinity deck. It's like, you know, like I was saying, the Electrolyzes and the Izzet Staticasters. Because almost all of their things have 1 toughness, so. Now, that being said, 1 activation of a Steel Overseer really cancels out all of the effectiveness of those cards, so. That's also something you got to be mindful of. You've got to deal with Steel Overseer. And in this matchup, you know, from an Affinity player, it's all about sequencing, right? I would seriously consider sequencing an Arcbound Ravager ahead of a Steel Overseer just for that reason. Okay, this hand has some cards that I want. Right? Is it Staticaster? Supreme Verdict? I just don't know if I can take the chance on one land. Oh wow, this literally is everything I want and so much more. I'm gonna keep this one. I'm gonna go ahead and bottom that because what I really need is either a lightning bolt or a path to exile to deal with an early seal over here. Ooh, wow. What an anemic start for my opponent. Steam Vents first. So they probably have another land and a 2-drop creature. Okay, so it appears they just drew that. That should help them out quite a bit. Spellskite is pretty awesome. And Thoughtcast on turn 2. So that's a fairly good sequence there. And an Ornithopter. I love that my opponent's playing all the inventions. No, no need. So the way that Electrolyze functions with Spellskite is that if I target the Spellskite with 1 damage, I can target something else with the other damage, and then Spellskite can't redirect any of it. Ooh, Blood Moon. I was not expecting that. It's pretty solid. I do want Island, though. Okay. So, my Electrolyzes and my Izzet Staticasters are at least live. Cryptic Command, not so much. Arcbound Ravager. And another Springleaf Drum. So I don't see Arcbound Ravager having any issues with eating these Springleaf Drums here. So for that reason, I'm not going to really push out an Izzet Staticaster or anything like that. Yeah, so I can really start to punish my opponent here by going Lightning Bolt on the Ravager. And then anything, if he tries to sack out for it, then I can give it some more damage. Yep, redirecting the Spellskite. Which is also fine because now I can flash in Izzet Staticaster and finish it off. Yeah, really drawing the island was pretty awesome there. My opponent will pick up so really as an Affinity player, I would consider this to be mana flood. Having so many Springleaf Drums, even though I only got technically got 1 land, you're very much flooded. So my opponent's making the choice to sack here for the Ravager. Not a lot I can do about it. I can flashback Lightning Bolt. Opponent wisely attacking with both. Just in case I deal with the Ravager, they can move the counters to the Ornithopter. Johnny Vengeant. Fortunately, I don't have a white mana. Alright, now we're going to force the issue here. Surely my opponent will eat another Springleaf Drum. I don't see any reason for them to keep it around. But just wanted to threaten it. Again, Supreme Verdict would be nice. Just don't have anything to get for it. So my opponent can go ahead and win the game here by eating 2 more artifacts and giving them the Arcbound Ravager, which they're interestingly going to do in their main phase. Oh, okay, he's got another Mox Opal. Makes sense. No reason to Lotus Petal it if you don't need to. Yep, my opponent wisely goes for lethal. Alright. So, Blood Moon, interesting choice. If it weren't for that Blood Moon, I think we actually would have been in very, very good shape to win that game. Very good shape. Okay. Let me think here. I can bring in Celestial Purge to deal with Blood Moon. I don't think it's worth the whole slot in the deck. Yeah. Surely my opponent's playing multiple Blood Moons. But yeah, it just can't be worth it. Alright, I think we're just going to run it back the way we've got it. And we're going to start playing a little bit differently. Just a little. This hand. Yeah, we can't keep this hand, unfortunately. My opponent kept 7. The dreaded 7 keep. Yeah, we can keep this one. I'll put that on top. Just because it'll make it easier to get to Supreme Verdict. We can fetch a basic with Flooded Strand, and then Supreme Verdict is necessary with the Hallowed Fountain. Alright, we have 3 artifacts, and we have 2 mana open now. Vault Scourge coming in. Another Vault Scourge. So yeah, it looks like we're going to have a pretty solid Supreme Verdict coming up here. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play that so we can think twice this turn. Thought to refill, reload, and Arcbound. New Mox Opal. Taking our beats. Go ahead and fetch a basic Plains. And we drew a red source. Not bad, not bad. Basic Mountain, not that exciting. So obviously we don't want to get Blood Mooned here. There's nothing we can do about it. And then we're kind of stuck off of Supreme Verdict. Supreme Verdict, I would like to play this upcoming turn. Yep. Steel Oaks here, so something else we can get caught up in the Verdict. And a Lightning Helix is a good draw too. We're getting pretty top dollar, top value for the Supreme Verdict now. Opponent still has 3 artifacts, so Etched Champion will be a problem. Yep. Speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. So Cryptic Command is what we need to get out in front of this Edge Champion. Fortunately, it doesn't look like we've got enough blue mana. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I think it's worth the 2 damage to play that. We can Desolate Lighthouse away this mountain. Steal Overseer. Uh-oh. Forgot a blue mana somewhere. Blue, red, white. Starting the mountain. Ooh, a Johnny. Wow. We can plus on the Edge Champion. Then my opponent can activate Blink Moth. Pump with Steel Overseer. I think we need to wait another turn for the Ajani beats. But Ajani can essentially hold down Edge Champion. Let me Serum Vision here. Oh, wow. Supreme Verdict is awesome. Yeah, we're going to do that instead. We're going to hold off. And Supreme Verdict next turn. But I think I'd go ahead and Helix the Overseer. Is that right? Yeah. So yeah, so we can Supreme Verdict away this Edge Champion. Unless my opponent has no other play here. Yeah, another Overseer. I think we can hold off another turn. Try to get some more value. I feel like I'm being awfully greedy here, but so my opponent's top decking, right? They've got 0 cards in hand. If they produce another threat. The worst thing that they can do to me now is play another Blink Moth Nexus. I think it's actually worth holding up the Lightning Bolt for that. In case, yeah, I think that's the worst thing they can draw is another creature land. So yeah, Supreme Verdict is the play here. And then I can hold up the Lightning Bolt for anything else they've got. Okay, another Arcbound Ravager. Okay, they're going to go ahead and attack with the Blink Moth. Post-combat, I'm going to bolt the Ravager. I seriously doubt they'll sack 4 artifacts to keep it around. And then I'll use a Johnny to keep this Blink Moth tapped. They might transfer some counters over to it, which I think is fine. And of course, I can always remove those counters later with a well-timed Cryptic Command. Oh wow, they might sack out for it. No way. Wow, my opponent's going all in on the Arcbound Ravager. Usually that's a fine play Uh, the only problem I have with it, oh, they're sacking out to put on the blink moth. Interesting. So that actually makes my sequencing a little easier because I just play a Johnny and keep it tapped down. So pretty painful if you're my opponent. This would hurt. Oh wow, more ways, more things to deal, more ways to deal with their threats. I have a think twice in the yard. I've got one in my hand. Yeah, they can't really do anything. I've really got them under my thumb. Ghost Quarter, wow. That's just nasty. So now if they put another creature land, I feel like I'm fairly safe. Or Popper, not doing much. Lightning Bolt is exactly what I want to draw. A lot going on. Twice here. Only cost 2 the first time. Oh man. You know, it's what they say is an embarrassment of riches. Um, I think it's fairly safe to go in on a small secure the wastes. I'm not in any real big hurry to finish this game. In fact, my opponent's going to spell pierce that. Yeah, that's fine. Vendilion Click can also close out the game. Yeah, since I'm kind of short and my mana is constrained, since I've got 2 colorless lands, I'll play this at the end of turn. Yeah, I like all my cards. Yeah, I'm going to sack the... Oh, my opponent has officially disconnected. Probably out of frustration. I actually don't think I take anything from this hand. Alright, so I'm going to pause the video as we wait for my opponent to reconnect. Whenever that may happen. Okay, and we're back. My opponent disconnected. They didn't even say goodbye. So yeah, a lot of people, they will do that sometimes. You know, I will say, all right, if you're an Affinity player or any type of aggro player, this is a very, very frustrating deck to play against. So I hold no grudge on my opponent for, you know, just up and leaving this game. It was well within their rights, and to be honest, they really didn't have any reason to stay in this game anymore. That being said, again, the deck, you know, has always had a great matchup against this Affinity deck. You know, your threats like Lightning Helix and even Supreme Verdict to deal with the, you know, untouchable Edge Champion. Why is Edge Champion not a masterpiece? I don't know. But anyways, good matchup. Glad we had it. Right now we are 3-1, so hopefully we can keep the 4-1 dream alive. I'd like to go 5-0, but that's a little harder to do these days. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you in the next one.